20 bucks. 20 bucks. You're on the line for 20 bucks. Keep on paying. Everybody's paying. Oh, man, some nickels and some dimes. Hi, guys. Jabor. I hope you're staying safe and well. And come into my kitchen. It's Mrs. Calabash, Maggie. I'd like to welcome you today to the show. It's very hot and humid. I keep looking out of the window because they said it was going to rain and my garden could really do with some rain. I'm going to just say something. I'm not quite sure with the internet whether it's going to keep going in and out like it does sometimes when there's heavy use. But Derek is recording, so if there's any problems, then he'll be able to put it up online for you. Also, a note to Derek, he's in serious pain. He did something to his back a few weeks ago, and sitting up is a problem. So he's been lying on this little couch that I've got up at the table, and he'll be back on the couch or in bed as soon as this is finished. So let's get started. I'm hoping today that it's not going to make the kitchen too hot. I don't know about you, but I've lost the will to cook. It's so hot and humid and the conditions, and I agree with Monica when she said, I hope I can re-inspire her to cook. So we're doing things that are very quick and easy, but don't cost a lot of money and are nutritious and interesting. So this is a ranch style egg. Now I'm going to be honest, I've never ever eaten this. I think I will have sausage on mine rather than an egg because I'm a bit fussy with eggs. But there's a nice Mexican sauce to go with it. And I decided that I'd do golden pan-fried mushrooms. So let's go back to the stove. And we're going to start off with the Mexican sauce. So let's go back because it needs to cook. So let's go back. Now, I've got everything started because it's so hot and humid. And in here, I've got onions, green peppers, and garlic. And I cooked that until it was nicely soft. I need a wooden spoon. There we are. So let's just heat this. Now, you'll see on the recipe that the original recipe is asking for ripe tomatoes. Well, I hadn't got any ripe tomatoes. And so I'm using a can of diced tomatoes. So that's a 14-ounce can. Quite honestly, I've got a 28-inch can, divided it in half. And I can use that, make some spaghetti sauce with the rest. Vegetable oil. And again, I couldn't get any green chilies. So, you make do with what you've got. So we're going to add some red peppers to give some heat and some pepper sauce. So these are nicely up to the heat. I'm going to add the canned tomatoes. You need the sauce with them. There we are. And I want this to have a nice bite to it. So I've got, I'm going to put a little cayenne pepper in. Let's get a spoon. I'm going to put a little cayenne pepper in there. Not too much. And some red crushed pepper. We can always add a little more. Some red crushed pepper, like that. And let's just turn that down. just a little sugar, because the tomatoes are quite acidy. Just a little sugar, and about 4 or 5 drops of a hot pepper sauce. I've got a Tabasco sauce here today. It's a Harabino, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we are. I'm going to taste that. We can add some more afterwards, but we can't take it away. Might need a little salt and pepper. It's got a bite to it. It doesn't hit you when you first taste it, and that's the way it should be. It shouldn't, oh, that's no good. Here we are. That's hot peppers. Here's my Mrs. Calabash mix. Just add a little of that, stir it, and we just want this to thicken a little bit. And if it looks as though it's not thickening fast enough, we can always just emulsify it with a hand liquidizer. So let's turn this over there like that, and I can let that cook nicely. Now, oh yes, it has got a bite to it. So, excuse me. This is for the mushrooms, which are pan-fried, golden pan-fried mushrooms. And again, I've got some melted butter in there, and I just fried off the onion. I like to fry the onion slowly so that it brings out all the sweetness. So I want that to get hot. And let's go back to the butcher block, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with the mushrooms. This is another way, and these make a nice appetizer as well if you've got people in for a barbecue. So let's go back to the butcher block. I'm going to wash my hands because I'm handling the food. You can use really small mushrooms for this. I couldn't get any really small mushrooms. So, again, these are fresh breadcrumbs. If you haven't got fresh breadcrumbs, if you don't make fresh breadcrumbs, use a panko breadcrumb. The Japanese breadcrumb, the not so dry as the just the dried breadcrumbs. I've got to go back. It's bubbling up too fast. There we are. Turn it down. In here, beaten egg. So this is a little bit messy. So do this before everybody arrives. Beaten egg. Cover it over with with breadcrumbs. And we're going to fry those off so they're nice and crispy. What I do is if I've got the end of some bread, I always just put it down in the food processor and make some breadcrumbs and keep them in the freezer. And then I've got breadcrumbs when I need them. It's a good job I did today, actually, because we have Sanchi, and Sanchi will eat anything. I'd got the breadcrumbs out on the table in the studio, and I'd lost Sanchi. He'd eaten them all. I could have killed him. But I did have some more in the freezer, so not all was lost, but one dog nearly lost his life, believe you me. So let's put these over here. Again, wash my hands. just wipe the board down. As I say, this is a really, really quick meal to assemble, and you could do part of it in the morning in the cool. So when you come for supper or lunch or whenever, you're not going to be too hot in the kitchen. So let's go back. I'm going to give the sauce a stir. I used a diced tomato with herbs. So we're going to put the mushrooms in there. Turn the heat up. And they're going to go back over there to cook whilst I finish off on here. Let's just put that over there. I can eat mushrooms in any shape or form. Just switch this over to there, like that. And let's have a look. Oh yes. They're crisping up nicely. So the sauce is cooking, the mushrooms are cooking, and now we need to make a tortilla. So I've got my pan. I made these up yesterday, and I find that I can make them up and make into a little ball and keep them in the fridge. Actually, I've got one. I rolled it out just before we started, and I was going to leave it out, but it's so hot in the kitchen, it needed to go back in the fridge. Well, put it this way, it's that hot, the cheese melted, so everything's sitting in the fridge. Let's just turn that down. So I'm just going to the fridge to get out my tortilla. And you'll find this recipe on Mrs. Calabash Cooks. I made it the other day. Ah, it's sticking. There we are. Now you can use a soft or a corn tortilla for this. I prefer a soft one, but if you like the corn, by all means use them. Let's get rid of that. We just need to cook this. They're getting nicely cooked. That's going to beat me to it. It's going to be ready for turning. There we are. We're going to put that in the oven just to keep warm. Just want to cook this through. Yep. Now you can see I've made a fairly thick base because it's got sauce on it and it's having egg on it, and so we don't want the base to disintegrate. We need to have a little sort of some substance. Now I've got that in there. It's the little toasty oven just on warm, and I was watching the other day, I was watching a Mexican lady make tortilla, and she was making them quite thick, and I thought, oh, because I'd been rolling them out more, and they were a little bit thin. So the secret obviously is to have them a little bit thicker. The onions are crisping as well as the mushrooms. We might have to just finish those off, because whilst they're cooking, the sauce is just about ready. And so we're going to cook an egg to go on top of that. I'm going to move those over to there again. Now I've got my little cast iron pan. A little oil in there. Just remember the handles to the cast iron get hot. This is very old. It's one I've had for years. It's followed me around the world. That you can see the sauce. It's looking really, we don't want it too thick. Can you see that? There we are. Come on, get hot. I had the fan going, and if it's going too much, it blows the flames, or the gas flame, and there's no heat in the flame, so it causes a bit of a problem for cooking. This is smelling really, really nice. Turn that down. We need this to get hot. Now I have slipped an egg, as you can see, into a little dish. It does save breaking the egg yolk. Turn the heat down a little bit. What I'm going to do is just put a little salt and pepper on top of that. You need to be able to cook the egg without getting the edges all brown. And I used to be the world's worst at cooking breakfast. I used to put everything on high and get it over and done with as quickly as possible. And then when I had the restaurant in France, I had to make breakfast. We started opening up for breakfast. And Kate started, oh my God, have they seen your breakfast? But I learned to make breakfast, and I learned to be a little bit more patient. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that the egg yolk is actually covered. So that's cooked, that's cooked. The tortilla is cooked. So we'll just sit that there. We've got to dish up the mushrooms. So come on, let's turn those off. We'll dish up the mushrooms. And lunch is served, or supper, or whatever. There we are. Let's see what we can do with the mushrooms. I've got some fresh lettuce. I was looking at the lettuce in the garden today, and I think once I've used this, we're going to be eating our own lettuce again, which is lovely. It's got that nice crispy, nutty flavour. So let's just put this over like this. Tuck that under there. Put that back. Turn the mushrooms over. Oh, I love the smell of mushrooms. When I was a child, because I'd never seen cultivated mushrooms until I went away to culinary school, because we just went out in the fields and collected the mushrooms. And I wasn't aware of the fact that you could actually buy mushrooms. And in France, you used to take a basket of mushrooms to the pharmacy, and he would check them because they had a sheet to tell you if they were edible or poisonous. And so you used to take your mushrooms to the pharmacy and he would check them for you before you ate them. We need these nice crispy bits of garlic and onion. Put that over there, and let's put a little bit of colour on there. What have we got? We got some strawberry. Nice and fresh for summer. These strawberries were absolutely enormous, actually. But they were a little bit watery. There we are. And that is the mushroom. So let's dish up the tortilla, the Mexican eggs, ranch style eggs. There we are. We're going to put some sauce on that. Whoa. Put some sauce on that, like that. Just take that little bit off. Clean the dish. Now we're going to put the egg back on again. The egg on there like that. Put a little more sauce on the egg white. And on the egg yolk, we're going to put some a nice strong peppery cheese. I've got a mozzarella cheese, is it? Monterey Jack. And as I say, I grated this morning and it melted. So, but it's going to melt again. Like that. Just like that. We could put, I'm going to put it back in the fridge so it doesn't melt on me. Just let me go and get the pepper. Add a little bit of colour to it. You could use either a little bit of cayenne or paprika on the top there, like that. And we will put some mushrooms by the side, like so. And what should we put with it? A little bit of cucumber. And this is enough for 4 people. You have 4 for tortilla and
Or me.
pun?
Or me.
For Derek, yes. For Derek. I'm going to put because, as I say, I'm not so keen on the egg on top. So I've got some cooked sausage. I'm going to slice that and fry the sausage and put the sausage on top. That's going to be my supper. So let me just remove this. No, I can't. I know I've got hands like asbestos, but sometimes even my fingers. I would serve, actually what I would do is I would have everything, the sauce in a dish. I would fry the eggs, have the tortilla out and let people help themselves. So they can put as little or as much on as they like. And so that is our ranch style eggs. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a really good weekend. It looks as though we might be having a little rain. So please go to Mrs. Calabash, like and share, and I will see you Tuesday evening at 7:30. I'll probably be doing a quick snack. So thank you very much for watching. Have a really safe weekend, and bye, Jabor. Bye. Yeah, bring me. Cheers. It's lemonade. You buy on 20 bucks.